But welcome everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Sometimes the Hasbara, it's too much explaining yourself and it's too apologetic.
Be sure to hit the notifications bell.
I actually do believe Israel won't just bomb countless civilians.
Be sure to tweet this out. Be sure to put this up on your Facebook.
You have to be kind to people. Be kind to the guys in this mess in the first place.
Put this up on your Reddit.
Chile is a country.
Be sure to cut and paste, a link to this to go into your favorite Facebook chat group.
It's good to see so many normal people in here.
Now, spanking isn't just my deep, dark personal secret. It's America's deep, dark secret.
I've never seen it explained so simply anywhere.
Put this on WhatsApp. Put this on Telegram. Put this on your favorite messenger app.
Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull called Elise. And let's just see who we've got on their bullshit today. Well, as you may have seen, Linda Thomas Greenfield, the U.S. UN ambassador, was on a remarkable level of bullshit, accusing UN Special Rapporteur for Human Rights in the Occupied Palestinian Territory, Francesca Albanese, in Australia known as the Good Albanese, because there's a shithead called Albanese who is their current Prime Minister, and he's a shithead, and he actually seems to be based. Of being anti-Semitic because she retweeted a meme comparing this picture of this like Nazi rally thing and one guy refusing to put his right arm up, with Rashida Tlaib being the one person in all of Congress who was not joining in a ghoulish standing ovation for the genocidal lies of Philadelphia native and also utter shithead Benjamin Netanyahu. Which is really, really rich, because the thing to remember about Linda Thomas Greenfield, God, is that? Let me just make sure I got her name right. Yeah, Linda Thomas Greenfield. I had to look the name up. Is that a couple of months ago, during one of the many Security Council vetoes that she exercised to try over resolutions trying to stop the genocide in Gaza, she at a press conference explained her veto. They explained the U.S. veto on the resolution by saying that it was getting in the way of the U.S. plans for Palestine, which she described as a final solution. So, I mean, you don't get to say that and then get precious when somebody points out that we're doing Nazi shit. Okay, you don't get to call your genocide the final solution and then get all precious because a human rights expert working for the UN in her personal capacity says, yeah, that's Nazi shit. Yeah, you're doing Nazi shit. Yes, she apologized later, but the thing is, let's just assume that she misspoke for a second. That's actually worse, because that means that the psychological association in her head between what she's there to justify and avoid and prevent obstructions to, and not the mental association with what she's doing there is the Holocaust. That means that that is where her brain immediately goes when she's thinking about what it is that she does every day. And I mean, if it's accidental, that means that's she spontaneously went there. And then, I mean, she really has no fucking excuse. So, yeah. Okay, so let's see what kind of bullshit we've got here. We got a bunch of bullshit because Netanyahu was in Congress, getting his Employee of the Year award, and everybody was everybody applauded. All the racist ghouls in Congress, all of them got up there and applauded because he was doing his genocide really, really well, and they're really glad to have him there. Everybody was very happy about that, but there were protesters, including a number of Israeli protesters. I mean, it was Jewish Voice for Peace was there; they led the thing, and then there were Israeli protesters who came specifically all the way from there because they got family members who are being held captive in Gaza. And they're protesting against Netanyahu because he refuses to do anything to ensure that they actually get released. In particular, he refuses to make any kind of deal, even though a deal to release all the civilians and actually everyone else has been on the table for months now. So Kamala Harris, in order to just demonstrate where she stands, of course called all of this anti-Semitic and unpatriotic. And then a bunch of people were very precious because there was graffiti on not even an actual national monument, a replica of a national monument provided by a right-wing NGO called the fucking, the American Legion. And it's yeah, fuck off, actually. So, of course, all our bullshit providers are on it. They're right there. And so, we've got Texan Zionist and Notre Dame truther Carolyn Glick. Into the fire. Bibi presents Israel's heroism to Congress. The heroism of, murking random people, including a couple of, scores, 10, 15, 16, probably 20, 30,000 children by now. And doing TikTok videos of, rifling through the underwear drawers of women you've murdered. I mean, true heroic stuff, the stuff of legends right there. We've got the liberal Zionist bullshit artists over at J Street unpacking Netanyahu's visit. And then we've got, again, from JNS TV, the right-wing Zionist ghouls we all know and love to hate. Did Kamala snub Netanyahu in Congress? A quick answer to that one. No, she had a one-on-one meeting with him. It was just purely to make potential voters think that she was taking a different stance than Biden was. Then we've got Harris. This is from the Young Turfs. Harris says she will not be silent about Gaza's humanitarian crisis. I mean, are they seriously going to just pretend that she wasn't just saying exactly the same bullshit that Joe Biden has been saying for the past several months, ever since his handlers realized that it played better to pretend to be for a ceasefire than to categorically reject one? Well, is that what they're going to be doing? I don't know. We could find out if we want. Then we've got, this was just a random thing that showed up. This is some Darman bullshit. Evil maid mistreats the owner. What happens is shocking. And I mean, I'm all for some Darman filtered class warfare. So how's everybody doing, chat? And what sounds good to you? Maybe start out with also, let me just make sure. Yeah, okay, good. I have a new setup slightly. I'm still kind of working out the kinks of it. But my mic is positioned differently than it usually is because of it. So I wanted to just make sure that the audio is working, and it is. Hey there, Riveroon. Good to see you again. So we've got a bunch of right-wing Zionist bullshit. We got some liberal Zionist bullshit. We got the Young Turfs apparently trying to launder Kamala Harris's statements and make it sound like this was actually something when it was the opposite of a thing. It's an anti-thing. It was a thing. Nothing. We've got the evil maid from Darman, and I'm kind of curious how horrible that's gonna be. And we've got Xanderhole. Biden actually stepped down, all aboard the Kamala train. Yeah, I mean, that was quick. Of course he was gonna pick the most right-wing fucking option available. So what's everybody think, chat? Any of those jump out at you? I'm kind of game for the Young Turfs one, the Carolyn Glick Texan Zionist one. That Darman looks interesting. It's, yeah, of course. I mean, she's very. She said as much. I mean, well, her statement was just a hot mess. Yeah, of course she's not going to. I mean, she has never shown any sign of objecting to what Biden has been doing in his genocide. Well, maybe let's start out and warm up with some Darman bullshit. And then we can get properly cooking after that. Wait. This is inspired by Parasite. So, okay. This is going to be an Oscar-winning Korean film about class war. Well, small-scale class war. Filtered through Darman. I'm sure this is going to be delightful.
Anita? I didn't mean to startle you.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. I didn't think you'd be back so early.
Wait, okay, just already. So they've decided to, in this version of it, have the rich fucks that are that she's working for be. That's just very interesting because so many of the times The unsympathetic characters in Darman videos are black. And now when it's rich people that we're apparently supposed to sympathize with, or maybe we're not supposed to sympathize with them, that would be more consistent. But I find this an interesting choice.
Yeah, we're running so behind. Alan had to bring me back because I think I left my earrings. Have you seen them?
I don't think so. What do they look like?
They're diamond earrings, and I could have sworn I left them on the couch.
God, this is the same ass flat that they use for everything. Like, nobody who's living in this flat can afford a fucking maid.
Excuse me, Miss Iris?
Yeah.
I don't mean to impose, but if we don't leave soon, we'll hit traffic on the bridge.
Oh, you're right. Okay, let me run upstairs and find another pair of earrings, okay?
Oh,
if you find them, you'll let me know, right?
Of course.
Okay.
What were you doing on the floor?
Pardon me?
I saw you when I walked in. What were you doing on the floor?
Yeah, steal these fucking earrings.
I thought I saw a stain, but...
Like, I mean, it is not exactly an unusual thing for somebody whose job is to clean the place to be on the floor. Because, I mean, floors often need cleaning.
Looks like I was wrong.
Okay. Let's go. Have a good day, Anita.
Hey, honey, how was work?
Did you find a job yet, Jose?
No luck today. Nobody's hiring construction workers right now.
It's been 6 months. I am tired of taking care of everything myself around here.
Again, we stand a bad performance because these actors don't get paid properly. This is minimum effort for minimum wage. And that's how it's supposed to be. You want a good performance, you pay for it. Okay.
Bet you could get a...
Let me just say, diamonds, not great for fencing. Because the thing about diamonds is their value decreases the minute they're sold retail. Resold diamonds aren't worth shit. Maybe you can melt down the gold on them.
Around 500 for them at the pawn shop.
500 what? Like rand?
But it still isn't enough. We gotta move to plan B.
Sure about that?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's not like I can count on you for anything.
Wait, we're filming this as like some sort of like evil conspirators. All she's done is nick some earrings.
So I'm just gonna have to take care of everything myself. Where's Rafi?
He's in there.
Raphael, come out here, please. Hi, honey. Did you make the stuff I asked you for?
Yeah, it's all right here.
What's Semtex, Mom?
Mom, why are we doing this again?
It's called class warfare. We've got to show the bourgeoisie who's boss.
Don't worry, son. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you. This is just something I need for my job. Hey, trust me on this, okay?
He doesn't look like he trusts her on this.
I can't believe this.
The morning time.
I'm always so thorough when it comes to vetting my staff.
It's okay. You can't catch everything.
That is the shittiest maid outfit ever.
I saw this when I was helping my husband find jobs.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm just so shocked right now.
To be honest, I can't say I'm too surprised. I think I smelled alcohol on him the other day.
Drinking on the job? I can't believe I never
You
noticed.
know what that means?
I guess I trusted him too much. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Wow. Okay. So this is just derivative of Paris. It's like Parasite if it sucked. God, I mean, this is like he's the king of minimum effort content.
How am I going to find another driver on such short notice?
Well, my husband drove a cab for many years. I know it's not the same, of course, but it could be something until you find somebody else.
Really, Anita?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Do you think he can start ASAP?
No, but he could start a car.
Oh, of course. Why don't I bring him over tomorrow so you can meet him?
Yes, that would work. Oh my God, you're such a lifesaver. Hi, sweetheart. How was the first week of soccer practice?
She's off to a great start.
Amazing.
Like, who's she?
And thank you so much. We'll get you paid by the end of the week, okay?
Bye, Miss Jessica.
Bye.
Anita, take Hazel inside, please. I need to handle something.
Mom,
Wow. Like,
what's going on?
Not now, Hazel.
well, I mean, if it was in the morning times, you know you can rely on it.
What is wrong with you? Drinking and driving?
What?
Are you kidding me?
I didn't do anything. What?
Like,
You're not doing-
with that beard. Was he like deliberately going for Jeffrey from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air there?
Anything no more because you're fired.
What?
This is not okay. I don't want to hear anything else.
I didn't do anything.
Resume looks great, Mr. Diaz. It says here you drove for Sherman Oaks Taxi.
Wait, taxis in LA? Okay, I'm already calling bullshit. Where the fuck are you finding taxis in LA? Like, that is like the one thing about LA that is just weird. I've never been, like, you can wait all you want in the middle of town, right in downtown LA. You will never see a cab. I've never been to a city that size, or even considerably smaller, where where cabs are so fucking scarce. Like, so what's Sherman Oaks like? What the fuck do taxi drivers do in LA? Is that an actual thing, or do they just kind of sit in the car and it's a grift or something?
For 9 years?
I did.
Well, so you must have had at least 2 fares in that time.
I did, yes.
Okay, perfect. How does $5,000 a month sound?
What the fuck? She, like, that's more than the rent on this place that they're in. $5,000 a month?
That sounds amazing, Miss Iris. Thank you. I can't wait to start working.
Well, I mean, okay, if she's paying this much to her, why do you even need to nick shit? I mean, understandably, I mean, in class warfare, you gotta keep the bourgeoisie on their toes. Got it. Understood. But, I mean, shit. If you're getting $5,000 a month, you might as well just, might as well just sort of stick with that. You know, wait till you give notice to start nicking things.
Excuse me.
That's not working, apparently.
Listen, Miss Iris, I don't know who gave you that article, but it's not real. Someone's trying to set me up.
Wait, it's a fake newspaper and she didn't check it out?
Please.
Well, I mean, admittedly, who would ever think that a newspaper called The Morning Times is fake? And of course, like, you know, that would be the front page story, a guy who was involved in a DUI. That's how newspapers work. I mean, obviously it's gotta be for real.
Please, just hear me out, please.
Anita's husband, Jose, is now taking over.
What?
He drove for Sherman Oaks Taxi for almost a decade.
What the fuck is even Sherman Oaks Taxi? That's not a thing.
Listen, please, you gotta hear me.
Things did not work out.
Please, Miss Iris.
I don't think there's anything more to be said. On that note,
No.
wow.
Okay, why is this statue on the coffee table facing away from everybody except the camera? And look at these bare ass walls too. Like no like art prints. No, not even like a little table. There's like that one fucking fur in there. Nobody who's paying $5,000 a month for a personal driver is living like this.
I feel so guilty about letting Alan go. Do you think I made the right decision?
Yes, I do.
Yes, and it's not at all because it just happens to suit us personally. No conflict of interest right there at all.
You know, my mom used to say, when people show you their true colors,
you just you should simply believe any obviously fake newspaper you find, and then pay $5,000 a month to somebody who worked driving cabs in a cabless city, in the biggest cabless city in the world.
believe them the first time.
Your mom sounds like a wise woman. Maybe he's the reason why my earrings are missing. Mr. Diaz, I'm excited to have you drive for me.
Why? It's just driving. Wait, well, like, why? What do you mean excited? Like, I guess it would be exciting. I mean, if you find an actual LA cab driver, I mean, that's like finding fucking Sasquatch. That's the Yeti. That is a cryptid. An LA cab driver. I've only seen like 2 of them. I spent a month there and ended up walking a whole lot because I kept on assuming that there would be cabs in places where in any other city comparable to LA there would be cabs, and there never fucking were, and so I ended up having a lot of nice long walks down Sunset in the middle of the night.
That better not be Alan again.
She doesn't give up, does he?
Oh, Jesse, I totally forgot about soccer practice today. Come in, I'll get Hazel for you.
Oh, and for your week's pay, here's $10,000. Because that's how people...
Is it okay if I set my bag down? I gotta run to the truck and get a few things before I set up outside.
No, it
No
isn't.
problem.
Fuck your bag.
I wonder how much Iris pays Jesse. Raph played soccer in middle school.
Wow. That makes him a proper Lionel Messi.
No, Anita. Don't even think about it.
Still with earrings, right?
Yeah, let's just talk about that right in the house where nobody could possibly hear it who shouldn't.
They're in the car. I didn't take them to the pawn shop yet.
Go get them.
I don't want to, Mom. First you made me Photoshop that fake article, and now...
It was a fucking Photoshop, like, not even, that is like cheap-ass falsification. That is like more, like, that's just a cheaper fake than the fake audio that, did you all see this? It went around, like, right-wing Twitter. Like, there was this video that Israel released that was supposedly a Hamas leader, but not Abu Obeida, their sole spokesman. Just some random guy who was threatening that there would be attacks in Paris during the Olympics, and it was great, except that he couldn't speak Arabic, and he had a thick Israeli accent. Like, that's the quality of that fake. So, okay, in that sense, maybe it is realistic. I mean, Israel could afford better, and they don't. So, okay. Apparently that just works now.
Now this?
That was different, Ralph. This is a great opportunity. Money can change everything for us. A new house, new car, but everyone has to be on board.
So we're going to say that you played for France in 3 World Cups.
I don't even like soccer. That's why I quit it.
But you were good at it. Just come with me and meet Miss Iris. Why are you being so difficult? Jose, aren't you going to say something?
Look, I don't want to pretend to be a soccer coach, Mom. I don't want to lie.
You don't have to lie. You know how to play the game. It's easy money.
Okay, so this is actually, I mean, so far they're not really screwing over the bourgeoisie, they're just screwing over other workers. That's fucked up. Is that how it works in fucking Parasite? I didn't see it. I've been meaning to.
Maybe this isn't a good idea. He's just a kid. He doesn't need to be a part of this. And besides, between the two of us...
A part of what? All you've done, you're driving him, and she's like cleaning up their shit, and
We're making 10 grand a month.
wait, 5,000 a month for a fucking cleaner. What? Okay, what planet is this? Because that's not how that works. That is like one of the worst paid jobs around, because there are no statutory like labor protections on that. In fact, considering that we have a legislature full of people who have maids, they have a direct personal interest in not allowing that to happen, and so it hasn't. And so not only is it like the worst paying conditions of anything, but that's even when you do get paid, because wage theft is rampant. $5 grand a month for a cleaner who doesn't even seem to do all that much. Shit, I'm in the wrong business.
It's more than enough.
We're still in debt. Raphael needs to do this. It's not an option.
What? You stole more jewelry.
This isn't for me. This is all part of my plan. Just watch.
God, it's all just cheap ass jewelry too.
Okay, let's stop there for today, okay?
Okay.
Looking good out there.
She's a natural.
I'm glad I'm getting my money's worth. Speaking of which, I need to pay you.
Here's, it's for 1 week's pay, so it's 50 grand. Is hundreds okay, or do you want smaller?
Do you have change for 100?
Let me check my bag.
Is that my necklace? Yes, it is.
I don't know how
Yeah, see, also great job there. Grinning as the whole thing is happening, because that isn't sus at all. Nobody's gonna notice that.
I got there. I've never seen that before.
Iris.
I've been looking for these for days now. And you're the one who took them?
No, I didn't take anything. I wouldn't do anything like that. I swear.
So,
Okay, so now I understand why she's an evil maid. Because she's not actually mistreating the owner. She's just mistreating fellow workers. That's fucked up. And I'm sure Darman is going to teach us a valuable lesson about class solidarity here.
So they just magically appeared in your bag?
Mom, Coach Jessica would never do such a thing. She is not like that.
Until she can give me a valid reason as to why my missing earrings and now my necklace are in her bag, she's no longer your coach.
That's not fair.
River Rune is right. Darman villains can never hide their fucking grins. It's like, this is so fucking obvious.
I can't believe this. What are we gonna do about my payments?
Payment? Little girl, you are lucky I'm not calling the cops.
Okay, that's a little bit more accurate, because that's still wage theft. She still did the work. She is still owed the money.
Get out!
This is Darman. Darman teaching us a valuable lesson about proletarian internationalism. Because you see, this evil maid, according to the title, she mistreats the owner, but so far she's just screwing over fellow workers in order to get her family employed in it. Very sort of Nepo Biden Trump sort of thing. Yeah, this is Darman nonsense. Hey, Erica, good to see you.
About payment.
I am so sorry,
Why
Miss
the fuck
Iris.
do they have a big bin of gravel in front of the sofa outside, by the way? Is the idea that they all sit and admire the gravel? Do they have a cat and they want to watch the cat shit in it? What's going on there?
Yeah, me too. First Alan and now Jesse. It's like you can't trust anybody nowadays. The worst part, Hazel has soccer playoffs at the end of the month, and now she has no coach.
Oh well, my 12-year-old son was a three-time World Cup finalist for England, which never happened. He'll do it for just $15,000 a month. That's the other like ridiculous thing about this. Like these household help. Yeah, you know, she's getting, okay, the maid here is getting $5,000. Her husband, who's doing the driving, is getting $5,000. Yeah, like the world's biggest ashtray.
You know, my son used to play soccer. It's been a while for him, but he could help Hazel if you'd like.
Really? Gosh, it's like the universe sent you and your family to me.
I mean, I suppose by definition.
You guys have been such a blessing. Can he start tomorrow?
I think he can make that work.
Yeah, like she isn't mistreating the owner at all. She's just mistreating other workers. That's fucked up. Mistreat the owner, damn it.
Anything for you, Miss Iris.
This is inspired by Parasite. So this is lower effort content than most Darman content, in that all they did was rip off a hit movie. Badly. What the fuck is she watering those bushes with? What the hell is that thing? That looks like a vibrator. She gardening with a fleshlight. Maybe not a vibrator, but some kind of sexual anyway. Also, she told the most shameless lie to get her husband the driver job. She claimed that he was a taxi driver in LA, something anyone who spent time in LA knows is not real. That's like saying you're Bigfoot. How are you counting money like that? That's not how you count money. Like, nobody's gonna be able to keep count. Like, it's... The theory is that this is how Darman launders money, actually. It is supposed to portray how low your effort level can be and still have viral fucking shit content.
Good morning, Miss Iris. Is Hazel ready for her soccer practice with Raphael?
See, apparently what happens is going to be shocking. Yeah, well, the key is he's probably not trying to say much of anything with it. He's trying to say, generate ad revenue.
There's been a slight change in plans, but come in, please. Hazel's cousin Beth is in town for the summer, and she offered to train Hazel. She's a great player.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is to just don't... If you try to go into depth on this, you're just going to hurt yourself because you're like scuba diving in a mud puddle. There's nothing there. This is as empty as it looks. This is a void. This is like if a human decided to create content to imitate generative AI, that's Darman.
Player.
Thanks. I'm gonna grab a quick shower.
Raphael, I'd really love for you to continue training Hazel after Beth goes back to school in fall.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem. I'll just leave then.
Wait, so you're just letting him go on such short notice?
I understand. How about
Like, wait a
I
second.
give you something extra to hold you over in case something else comes up?
Thanks.
Jose, do you mind giving Rafael a ride home?
No, of course, that's fine.
Guys, I'll be right back, okay? I gotta check on something.
Yeah, I mean, there is no message in this. It is just shitty, vapid content.
What are we gonna do?
Often with very sort of reactionary undertones.
We need that money.
Do we? We paid off all of our bills. We got a new place. That was the goal, right?
Yes, yeah, just talk about this right in front of the girl who already is suspicious of you.
You think you get a life like Iris has by settling?
You can't get a life like Iris has by fleecing Iris. Because I mean, like, literally, this is apparently a lesson in the theories of surplus value, because, of course, there's literally no way that you could get the same standard of living as your boss by working for your boss, because you're only ever going to be getting a fraction of what your boss has.
I don't think so.
Look, there's nothing you can do at this point. It really sounds like Miss Iris is set on her decision.
Yeah, it does.
Don't hang up your soccer cleats just yet.
Is that what you do with cleats?
Come on.
You hang them up? And now she's smiling evilly at the bottled water. Non-dairy oat beverage. What? Is it fucking sugar? What poison comes in a little packet? That's a very convenient little poison packet.
Hi, girls. Ready for soccer practice?
Ready as we'll ever be.
Oh, it's hot out. Let me get you some water.
Wait, that stuff wasn't in the fridge a second ago.
There you go. Have fun.
Oh, now you kick it back to me.
What? I mean, do the people who make little sugar packets also make little fentanyl packets, or what is this?
Oh my gosh, Miss Beth. Are you feeling okay? What's wrong?
I don't know, she just was acting really weird.
Okay, why don't you run inside and get your mom, okay?
Good idea. Mom! Beth's in trouble!
It's over.
Oh.
Anita, Beth, what's wrong with her?
I don't know. I just came out and found her like this. You know, I haven't seen anyone like this. Oh, no, I know. I'm
What does that mean? I haven't seen anyone like this.
sure Beth is a good girl. She wouldn't.
She wouldn't what?
It's just the last time
You just said you haven't seen anyone like this.
I saw anyone like this, it was Alan, and he wasn't exactly sober.
Are you kidding me? And around my daughter?
Did she just pass out? Beth, can you hear me? Come on.
She probably just needs to sleep it off. I'm sure it's not drugs or anything. If it were, we'd have a problem.
Wait, what does she think it is that there isn't a problem? I mean, personally, I don't know. If somebody just kind of collapses in your yard like that, out of nowhere, I think you already have a problem.
Well, are you sure? I mean, maybe we should call an ambulance, just in case, you know, and then they can run some blood tests and confirm what it is. It's worth knowing, especially if she's going to be around your daughter this summer.
Well, everybody's very lackadaisical about the fact that she's just fallen unconscious out of nowhere.
Yeah?
Like, she's fucking hypoxic right now.
Nah, that's alright. I was in college once. She's fine.
Wow. Clearly, if you were in college once, you get to make that call.
It's fine.
But you know...
Well, because she was... River Rune, she was in college once. And that means that she is totally qualified to just to say whether somebody's fine when they've gone unconscious in their backyard like this. And they're tiny ass.
It's fine.
With how much she took.
What do you mean how much she took?
But I was just assuming that she, took something.
No, I don't think that's true, Anita. Do you think that's true, Beth?
What? You're okay, but I thought, what's going on? What is this? Some kind of joke? You guys got me good. Yeah.
I think the joke's on you. Yeah, when I got fired, I thought it was a little bit odd that your husband got my old job. I didn't think.
Yeah, and then I started looking up taxis in Sherman Oaks. That doesn't sound real.
Anything of it. That is until I came back a few weeks ago to pick up my last check.
You came back?
Yep. And I ran into Hazel. And she was really upset about everybody being fired. And made mention that it was your family members that kept replacing us.
Wow, I never saw this coming.
That's when I knew I had to do a lot of digging. That news article that you gave Iris was a fake.
He needed some digging to know that the news article about him was a fake.
Here's the real one. I already told you.
This doesn't mean anything.
Okay. Well, how about this?
Wait, all he did was change the fucking pictures so you could have just read the article and the name would be different?
I have a friend that works at Sherman Taxi. Pull a list of all the drivers over the past several years.
And there aren't any because it's fucking LA and nobody can find a taxi anywhere.
To verify if your husband worked for them or not. And it turns out, they never heard of him. Care to explain that one?
Jose is his nickname?
It was on the driver's license that he gave me when he was hired. When Alan and Hazel came to me about all of this, I didn't know what to believe. So Alan came up with the...
She didn't know what to believe. I mean, that already...
The idea of catching you in the act. So we had Beth take Raphael's job just to see what she would do.
But, okay, that doesn't make sense. She put something in the water. We put something... So... What, was the something in the water also part of the plan? Because it wore off in a hurry if it was, and how would they have any control over that?
We planted nanny cams all over the house. And lo and behold, the camera hidden in the plant on the kitchen counter had a gold mine of footage.
What, I didn't know about a gold mine of it. It was like one little clip.
Set me up? You can't do that.
I can, because it's my house. Although you acted like it was yours. I wouldn't be surprised if the police found my jewelry in your new house either.
Wait, I thought we already found her jewelry in the soccer coach's fucking bag. Like, did the writers... Oh, well, no. I mean, the writers almost certainly don't. What am I saying? Writers? There probably aren't any.
Police. Hold on a second.
Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to place your hands behind your back.
This is outrageous. I want to see my husband.
Oh, don't worry about him. We talked to him on the way over here. He had a lot of interesting things to say about you. Like how this was all your idea, and he tried to stop you. Seems like him and your son want nothing to do with this. Let's go.
Like, what is she being charged with, though? Photoshopping a newspaper article?
What? Please, Miss.
I mean, I guess poisoning, except that clearly the poison didn't do anything, so whatever it was Like, no, okay, why am I trying to make sense?
Don't do this. This is all a big misunderstanding.
You know, the old me may have been willing to hear you out, but as I've
This is character development.
come to learn, when people show you their true colors, believe them the first time. Take her away.
Sorry.
Please, come on. I just need to call my husband. I get one phone call.
Wait a minute. Alan's back.
Wait, you didn't notice that? He's been here for like 10 minutes.
Ah, yes, I am back. I'm back. Boy, I miss you two guys so much. Oh, yeah, and by the way, I spoke to Jessie, and she'll be here tomorrow morning to continue soccer training.
Yay!
Great. And if you know any housekeepers with experience, let me know.
Come on, Cooper.
So, it's all the old rich people that live here. Oh, hello, Dorothy. I'm Chad, your new caretaker.
They have all this cash and do it. If you and I work together, we could have matching dream cars by the end of the summer.
Ah, shit. Oh, that was farther back than I intended. Okay, so, having had that little crapatizer, shall we look at the Young Turfs? Shall we look at J Street unpacking Netanyahu's visit? Or shall we look at the Notre Dame truther talking about how Netanyahu is presenting Israel's heroism to Congress? What sounds good? Oh, we've also got Xander Hull. Biden actually stepped down, all aboard the Kamala train. What's everyone's pleasure? I'm kind of vacillating between the J Street bullshit and the JNS TV bullshit. And the Young Turfs, actually. I'm very undecided, so... Okay, let's do Young Turfs, and maybe it's a short one. Maybe we can get Slender Hall in there, too. Start out with them. Gaza's humanitarian crisis. Like, seriously.
It is time for this war to end, and end in a way where Israel is secure, all the hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza ends.
Yeah, the suffering, it's just agentless. Nothing, it's like a natural disaster.
And the Palestinian people can exercise their right to freedom, dignity, and self-determination. There has been hopeful movement in the talks to secure an agreement on this deal.
That's kind of funny because the main movement has been that Israel has been escalating the mass slaughter in the past week. So, I mean, that's an interesting thing to call hopeful movement.
And as I just told Prime Minister Netanyahu, it is time to get this deal done.
So Vice President Kamala Harris met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday after declining to attend his address to Congress. Bibi also separately met with President Joe Biden. And there's been a lot of speculation about how her policy towards Israel would be different than Biden's.
Yes, and it's completely groundless because as we just saw, she's using the exact same fucking talking points that Biden has been using ever since his people pointed out that it plays better to pretend you're for a ceasefire than to openly and categorically and ghoulishly reject one.
Who has largely avoided criticizing Israel's actions in Gaza and has continued to send them weapons. Harris started her remarks by reconfirming her unwavering commitment to the existence of the State of Israel, and she said that she would continue to help Israel defend itself.
Yeah, so, which is another way of saying that she's going to continue committing genocide. That's what they mean by Israel defending itself.
But she also said that how Israel defends itself matters, and she spoke to the...
Which is what Biden's been saying for like 3 months, and it's completely fucking meaningless. Because it already accepts this completely bogus premise that what Israel is doing is some kind of self-defense. which it isn't. Unless you accept that they have a legitimate right to self-defense against what they call the demographic problem, which is their word for the existence of Palestinians.
Disastrous humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Take a look at this.
I also expressed with the Prime Minister my serious concern about the scale of human suffering in Gaza, including the death of far too many innocent civilians.
What do you mean far too many? How many would be the right number for you? Like, what the fuck is far too many?
And I made clear my serious concern about the dire humanitarian situation there.
Again, a humanitarian situation. Like this is just something that happened. It's not say that Israel and the U.S. are systematically blocking all the humanitarian aid that is just piling up and literally rotting, waiting for somebody to let them in. And that what aid was being allowed in actually dropped by 60% after that bogus pier was built. The one that just washed away after the one thing it was ever used for was a massacre in Nusayrat. Are they really going to try to make this... Are they really going to try to put a humanitarian face on this bullshit?
With over 2 million people facing high levels of food insecurity.
No, high levels of food insecurity was like 5 months ago. They have been cut off from food and water and medicine and electricity and fuel for the better part of a year now. I mean, even UN agencies that are usually very, very cautious about the term famine and almost only ever declare a famine after it's already happened, after it's done, just in retrospect, have said there's a famine, like literally in all of the Gaza Strip. This isn't high levels of food insecurity. Like, I mean, this is such bullshit.
And 500,000 people facing catastrophic levels of acute food insecurity. What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating.
Acute food insecurity. No, it's famine. Food insecurity is way on the other end of the scale. It isn't food insecurity when there's literally no food. And that's the situation they're in.
The images of dead children and desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety, sometimes displaced for the second, third, or fourth time.
Like, what do you mean fleeing for safety? Who are they fleeing from, Kamala? Who are they fleeing from?
We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies.
You're not looking away. You're doing it. You're literally looking right there and saying, well, hey, maybe we should send a few more 2,000-pound bombs.
We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
God, this is so fucking ghoulish. This is Lady Macbeth, but like genocidal.
Well, she is right. The crisis in Gaza gets more and...
What do you mean? You do not have to hand that to her. She's like completely trivializing a crime that she has been directly involved in committing here.
more dire every single day. According to Palestinian health authorities,
it's worth noting 39,000 is... That number has been stuck around there for months because the U.S. and Israel have been systematically killing all the people who are in charge of keeping count, while at the same time destroying all the equipment and infrastructure and the specialized teams required to get people out from under the fucking rubble. The Lancet, one of the most respected medical journals in the world, came up with a conservative figure of 186,000 people murdered, and a group of U.S. doctors and nurses who had worked in Gaza during the ongoing genocide, in an open letter to Biden and Harris, said their estimate was at least like 92,000 people.
Israel's ground and air campaign in Gaza has killed more than 39,000 people, mostly civilians, and driven most of the enclave's 2.3 million people from their homes. Kamala then turned to the ceasefire and hostage deal that's currently on the table and said it was time to get the deal done to end the war.
Well, except the thing is, which deal? Because there's this deal that they keep on trotting out, and they keep, gaslighting us and saying this is an Israeli deal, which is really rich, because they're still saying it even though Israel immediately scornfully rejected it, which of course they would only do if the US said they had their back on that. Like, literally the only people who are standing in the way of a deal at this point, the US and Israel.
She also said that she remains committed to eventually achieving a two-state solution. So,
oh, wow, I'm impressed. Eventually achieving a two-state solution. Like, I mean, does that come with fairy dust?
Anna, what do you think? Is she trying to play both sides here? She's already doing
of course she's fucking trying to play both sides. I mean, these aren't even new talking points. Like, are you new that you didn't know what these talking points are? Oh, we got Anna Transphobian. I wonder how she's going to find a way to be the racist about this.
Her job at acknowledging the deaths in Palestine than Joe Biden ever did, but
no, she didn't. I mean, she didn't acknowledge it. And more importantly, it's not enough to acknowledge the death. You have to acknowledge how they died. You have to acknowledge the fact that they're being fucking systematically slaughtered by people who you're arming in full knowledge that this is what they're doing. Like, this is literally nothing new. This has been Biden's talking points, like, for at least 3 months.
Regardless, is this still just the status quo?
Hey, don't scroll
Yes,
away.
it is.
Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
There's really no indication that she would be different in terms of policy.
Okay, worst person you know has totally valid point. There's absolutely nothing in that statement gives anyone reason to believe that she would be any different. And the fact that she called the protesters anti-Semitic and unpatriotic, like, not even suggesting that they had any legitimate issue that they were dealing with, just saying that they were all the Jews who came out to protest, since it was like a Jewish-led protest to a great extent, were anti-Semitic and unpatriotic. Like, I mean, it would be it's such a shame to be unpatriotic towards a regime that does such wonderful things, like killing 186,000 defenseless people in a concentration camp. I mean, that's the sort of country that you absolutely have to love. I mean, obviously.
Certainly, she's a little better.
Oh, how is your cat testing gravity? I love cat stories.
Rhetorically speaking, and drawing some attention to the pain and suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza is
in a very backhanded way that, first of all, this is not new. Biden has said this shit. And second of all, the only thing that would be new is acknowledging what the cause of their pain and suffering is. Acknowledging that they would not be in this kind of pain and suffering if the US and Israel had not put them there systematically.
It's an important thing to do, and I think that Biden had trouble doing that. But to be fair to Biden, he had trouble messaging on pretty much everything. And so...
Well, and no, see, God, I didn't know who it was who pointed this out. But somebody recently pointed out that actually when it comes to murdering people, Biden is still quite eloquent. It's when he's talking about doing good things for people that he suddenly completely loses the plot.
Kamala Harris, yes, did a good job there. But when you look into the influences in her life, namely her husband, who is, very proud to declare himself a Zionist, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is necessarily a bad. Well, I mean, Anna Transphobian is kind of a white supremacist, so of course, she's gonna say a white supremacist ideology isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, fuck you, Anna.
Saying that's indicative of someone who's going to be needlessly cruel to Palestinians, but
yeah, where would you ever? I mean, where would you ever get the idea that Zionism involved needless cruelty to Palestine? Oh, I get it. The key word is needless. Yeah, the idea is that they would only be as cruel to Palestinians as they need to be in order to steal their land and keep expanding and maintaining an artificial settler majority in colonized land.
But his focus in every comment that he's made publicly since Kamala Harris became the presumptive nominee indicates to me that he's very much in favor of protecting Israel and doing so to the detriment of Palestinians.
Like, there is literally no way to protect a regime that exists based on the murder and dispossession of Palestinians other than to the detriment of Palestinians.
What gives me a little bit of hope is that apparently Kamala Harris's stepdaughter talks about the plight of Palestinians and like brings that.
That's meaningless. I mean, I didn't know anything about her stepdaughter. Maybe her stepdaughter's cool. I didn't even know she had one. But first of all, I don't give a shit. It's her stepdaughter. It's not her. Like, lots of politicians have kids who actually really hate everything they stand for. I mean, maybe not lots, but it's happened. But the thing is, acknowledging the pain and suffering is meaningless if you're not acknowledging why they're in pain and suffering.
That up during Seder, wants to change or influence U.S. policy as it pertains to Israel and how they're prosecuting this war.
What does that? How they're prosecuting this war? How they're prosecuting, and not whether they do it. Like, I mean, let's just remember, Israel is more dependent on the U.S. than they have ever been at this point, because they are running through ammo like it's nothing. Like they're on a fucking, an unlimited ammo cheat on GTA 5 or something. They have depleted just about everything. They're running out of tanks and armored personnel carriers. They're in the shit. If the U.S. were to even vaguely hint that there were limits to their willingness to keep underwriting this thing, Israel would have to reconsider their position in a hell of a hurry, because they can't keep on acting like they have unlimited ammo if they know the ammo is about to dry up, because their supplies on hand are not great.
I don't know how much influence her stepdaughter has on her, but there's one thing that I'll mention that I think is super important, and it's the influence of people like Anthony Blinken in the Biden administration that Kamala Harris is poised to get rid of, and that is a good sign.
What do you mean? What makes you think she's poised to get rid of it? Absolutely nothing that she said in that quote, in that speech, is in any way conflicting with the current official U.S. messaging. It isn't. There's no, where's the...
So Anthony Blinken is an individual who, after working for the...
Great, it's an individual. The problem is Anthony Blinken, you see. If we get rid of Anthony Blinken, it's all cool. Nobody else, I mean... never mind that Anthony Blinken could have been fired without notice at any time if Biden seriously disagreed with anything that he was doing. Never mind that there's been no sign of any fucking conflict between Harris and Blinken over any of this. We're gonna just try to Blinken is a fucking evil fuck. I mean, just look at those dead eyes of him. And that footage of him just making up bullshit stories out of nowhere. Bullshit stories nobody else was telling about shit that Palestinians supposedly did on the 7th of October that they definitely, we know for a fact, absolutely did not do. And just sitting there with his fucking dead eyes saying this to Congress and just making it up as he went along. Yeah, he's an evil fuck. But he's not the reason that the U.S. does this. The U.S. is the reason that the U.S. does this.
The Obama administration founded a consulting firm called West Exec Consultants. And the way that this consulting firm is structured is they can literally have foreign clients without having to disclose that they have foreign clients.
Yeah, this is how consulting firms generally work. I mean, this is a pretty typical arrangement. This is what like top level politicians in the US do. It's how they cash in. It's their follow-on grift after I mean, what the fuck yeah, okay. This is just normal. These consulting firms are precisely where top politicians go after they're done being top politicians.
Right, so they don't have to ever register as foreign agents. They don't have to disclose that they've worked with foreign clients. A former U.S. ambassador to Israel was also part of this consulting firm. And I'm telling you all of this because I have no doubt in my mind that these are individuals who worked with Israel as one of their foreign clients.
Well, because it would be fairly standard. Although, I mean, calling Israel foreign is a bit much. Israel, is like a foreign country in name only. By any other definition, if we look at it economically, it's just the U.S. and Israel are one blob. If you look at it in terms of there's no such thing really as Israeli capital. Israeli capital is so fucking intermingled with U.S. capital, there is no separating them. Israel is just a fucking U.S. aircraft carrier that is on land.
And I think that that's also one of the influences behind Avril Haines, who also worked at this consulting firm, coming out and alleging without a single shred of evidence that Iran is funding the pro-Palestinian protesters here in the United States.
Except that's not the first time anyone said that. Like, Nancy Pelosi can't decide whether opponents of the genocide in the U.S. are Russian agents or Chinese agents. Calling people foreign agents based on nothing is just how politicians deal with grassroots opponents anymore in this country. They just call us fucking foreign agents, and she's trying to spin that it isn't just the lobby; it is one consulting firm, and that's the whole reason that the Biden administration is doing more or less what you would expect a U.S. administration to do in this situation. Like, I mean, it's just, this is wild. It's just the one.
Kamala Harris getting rid of these individuals from her White House, should she, win the presidency, would be a major improvement in my mind. I mean,
yeah, I mean, and this is why your mind should not be listened to, because you have fuck all analysis. It's not a fucking consulting firm that's doing it. There's a reason that the people who actually rise to the top in U.S. politics are all on the side of ensuring that the temporary entity, as I've heard it called recently, remains armed to the teeth and and enjoys total impunity internationally. There is a reason for that, and it is not just individual. We've had since 1967, we've had all kinds of administrations since then. Some of them have even had some policy differences with their successors and predecessors. I mean, less as time goes on, but it's happened. But this is a fucking strategic position. There's no other country in the region that offers the sort of reliability as a proxy as Israel does. Because Israel is the only country in the region that has a popular base that does not hate the U.S. Like, if you look at the polls, there are polls where they do approval ratings of the U.S. And in the Middle East, it is a tiny number of people who actually think favorably about the U.S. It is just, and the more the U.S. has been involved in a particular country, the more people fucking hate the U.S. in that country. That is a very consistent thing. Israel bucks the trend. In Israel, there is a majority in favor of having the U.S. there. For an obvious reason, they're totally dependent on the U.S., and they know it. They know that they would be up shit creek if the U.S. was not underwriting their military, because everything they're doing is just pissing off the indigenous population. And they have to be able to hold them at bay, and increasingly they also realize that they don't actually have soldiers. They have just a bunch of fucked up assholes who they just handed guns to and gave them minimal training, because you don't really need a whole lot of training in order to like murder old people and little kids. Like, okay, yeah, so if we get rid of Blinken, it'll all change. Which is why it was totally different back before there was Blinken in the White House. Like, what the fuck is this?
Obviously, it depends on who she replaces these individuals with. But I was concerned about the Anthony Blinkens and the Avril Haines as soon as Biden had nominated them for his administration. And so we'll see how this all plays out. But in terms of...
we know we don't need to see how this all plays out. There's literally... She's given us no reason to believe that there's any change. This is so ridiculous. We're going to pretend that because she gave a Biden speech on Israel, but it wasn't Biden saying it, that if Anthony Blinken does not come back to the White House under Kamala Harris, that's going to fundamentally change things, even though they've been the same since 1967 and fucking Blinken wasn't there most of that time.
Of her rhetoric, obviously, you know, she's very clear that she's unwavering in her support and commitment to Israel.
Yeah, exactly. So you're debunking yourself in real time. That's good. That's good.
And I think that rhetoric is damning because, okay, but what is the government made up of in Israel? If they're far-right extremists,
which they always are by any, I mean, see, the thing is, people talk about far-right extremists in the Israeli government, and quite correctly so. It is currently full of people who happily identify as fascists. But the thing is, when you look at the Israeli political landscape, the Israeli settler political landscape, it is all political parties whose positions would put them way on the far right in most countries. It is all parties whose positions have more in common with like neo-Nazi parties than they have with just mainstream political parties in a lot of places. So, I mean, you talk about far-right extremists. It is a far-right country. Israel is 4chan with a fucking Air Force.
you're going to unwaveringly support the far-right extremists or extremist government of Israel?
Well, welcome to U.S. foreign policy. What, you think it's unusual for the U.S. to support fascists? Really? Like, have you met Latin America? Videla, Pinochet, Bordaberry, Banzer, Stroessner. He escuchado decir esos nombres, weona.
Doesn't make much sense to me. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, it
but
would be so weird for the U.S. to support far-right extremists in the world.
I have a little bit of hope, not much. What do you think, Waz?
You guys will be shocked to learn that my enthusiasm for this Kamala Harris thing has done nothing but diminish as the day goes by. And
yeah, but how was there any to begin with is what I'm wondering.
And honestly, watching that statement is just perfect. She is going to be a way better Democratic Party politician than Joe Biden.
Where do you get that from? It was a Biden speech. There was absolutely nothing in that speech that Biden has not said in the past few months. Like, this is one of the things the propaganda system in this country does. Is it gaslights you. It just sort of lies to you about shit that just happened and expects you to, like, retcon your memory because rather than assuming that you're being bullshit. I mean, that's what's going on in this. Like, maybe all these motherfuckers have the memory of a goldfish and they don't realize that these are the talking points Biden's been using for a while now. But in which case, I mean, obviously, great people to be like providing an analysis to a broad audience. I mean, if they really don't remember that far back, but I don't know. I do remember that far back, and yeah, this is bullshit.
She's gonna say the right things. She's gonna look really polished in the process of doing it.
Oh well, I mean, if you're gonna advocate for genocide, it's good if you look polished in the process of doing it. That's why the Waffen SS, all the SS had their uniforms designed by Hugo Boss, because you gotta look polished while you're doing it.
but she's gonna do like nothing for anybody of substance. Like, in
okay, at least okay, good.
all of that speech, at no point did she say she'd be willing to lift a finger to achieve said outcome.
Okay, see, I mean, that's a relief. I've never, the two people that Anna Transphobian is flanked by here, I've never heard of either of them. I've never seen either of them, so the way he was talking there just a minute ago, he had me going. It was like, wait, I mean, first he said he was perfect. It didn't sound sarcastic to me. It didn't sound like he was saying it in a negative sense. But yeah, he's absolutely, I mean, okay.
Right, like she said, we want a ceasefire, we want the war to stop, we want to bring the hostages home, yada, yada, yada. And
yeah, all the stuff that the focus groups have been telling the Biden administration that they have to say if they want anyone, if they ever want to be able to like go out to dinner ever again in their lives and not wonder if somebody took a shit in their meal.
At no point did she say, and we'd be willing to go here to see this. We'd be willing to stop with the weapons. We'd be willing to stop funding. We'd be willing to crack a whip.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing. It would be so fucking easy if the U.S. actually wanted to. Israel can't handle, like right now, Israel is falling apart at the seams on so many different levels. They have managed to provoke the shit out of all of their, like, neighbors. If the U.S. were to cut Israel loose right now, I don't know that Israel would actually be there for much longer. The whole regime would probably fucking collapse down its own asshole.
On the Israeli government, who is allegedly our partners and our allies, we'd be willing to actually, wield some influence over them to achieve this end that I claim to want to see.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this guy's absolutely right on this. I mean, I don't know about allegedly an ally. I mean, the thing is, I don't like that because it's like trying to distance the U.S. from what the U.S. is doing. Israel is not doing anything the U.S. doesn't like. And the way you can tell he's not doing anything that the U.S. regime doesn't like is that the U.S. regime is still underwriting it. Like, because the U.S. can turn on a dime when it comes to that shit. Ask Saddam Hussein how quickly the U.S. can sour on you if you do something that they've decided that they're going to pretend to be angry about. Ask Suharto in Indonesia how fickle the U.S. can be. Or Manuel Noriega from Panama. He also knows very well just how quickly the U.S. can turn on a dime on these things and completely leave you hanging and you're fucked. So, I mean, acting like the U.S. is doing all this shit and without actually without a deliberate decision to do it. That's not how regimes work. That's not how states work.
That's the bad part, right? To me, she just said a whole bunch of nothing up there.
Yeah, she did. That's exactly right. I mean,
thing is, yes, she said she's already leaked she's gonna fire all of Biden's foreign policy people, which
again is a very good PR move and means nothing. Because yeah, I mean, first of all, again, like fucking Tony Blinken looks like a Darman villain. Okay? His optics are he just looks ghoulish. And then he opens his mouth and he confirms that looks are not always deceiving. That sometimes the cover design on a book is an accurate reflection of what's in there because that's what the cover's for. Like, I mean, okay, so you fire all those people. That wouldn't be unusual. That's kind of usually how administrations work. People bring in their own people. But that doesn't mean shit. So they bring in somebody who's less ghoulish looking than fucking Tony Blinken. They're not going to do anything different. The entire foreign policy establishment is on side with this.
Was very heartening. Another thing is, if you follow this foreign policy stuff even a little bit, you know that there are like sort of factions. Like none of these people in the foreign policy establishment are like us who just want to end all of these wars and like focus on what's happening at home.
Yeah, because they actually like these wars or they wouldn't be doing them. They see them as a useful thing to do. Palestinians pissed the U.S. off. Like, up until October 7th, the U.S. had been conducting itself in the Middle East as if there were no Palestinians, as if Palestinians were just a spent force and you could ignore them, and doing all these normalization deals and all that shit. And, I mean, meanwhile, the Palestinian resistance pulled off something that on the level of the fucking, the Longkesh escape in 1983, where they, like, for years were, like, sucking up to, you know, the occupation authorities, getting into position, lulling them into a false sense of security, convincing them that they were not going to be getting up to anything, and Israel fucking bought it. Just like the guards at Longkesh bought it. And to the extent that they got warnings that there was something going on, fairly accurate, fairly precise warnings, and they said, nah, there's no way, they couldn't do that shit. And then they defeated the Gaza division in less than half an hour. Like, you could get a pizza delivered in less time, and it would take longer than it took them to defeat what is supposedly the most badass unit of the Israeli military. Completely wrecked them. So the U.S., you know, is thinking, if we can't pretend that there are no Palestinians, maybe it would be just best if there were no Palestinians. Because the real absolute tragedy of Palestinians, or Palestinians, is that you have nothing to offer an empire when it's all been stolen from you already. Literally all they have is their ability to fuck shit up. Their ability to disrupt the shit. And that makes them a potential threat, but it doesn't make them somebody that you have to negotiate and make a deal with. And I just noticed the time. It is time to be wrapping up. Thank you to everyone who joined in. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Nice to see you, Phoenix, and your cat too. I will be back tomorrow at 16:30 US Eastern Time on Twitch for the Hyperpolyglotting stream, where we look at the best and worst of language YouTube, and we play some GeoGuessr and all that cool stuff. And then at 23:30 US Eastern Time, again, right here, to continue the Last JabroniCon. And so, thank you to everyone for joining, and good night, good luck, and fuck Xander Hall.